Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur'Ainun Afifhah, and then today I will present my paper, and the title is The Factor Affecting Society of Online Consumer Behavior. And in the overview, as we already know, the internet is growing rapidly these days, and so is the digital economy, which is also being driven by the developing information technology around the world. And also because of the growing rapidly, there are also rapid increase on web user and the internet connection. With new technology around us, companies is using the digital marketing to promote and enhance the image of their product and services using company website. As we know, the internet shopping, especially for the B2C, or we can call it the business to consumer, are growing very rapidly, and it become really popular in the community. How can be? It's because the internet giving the user the ease of using it, especially in the online shopping. All information that consumer need is available on the internet. So that's why the online shopping is very popular in society. Cut. And in the research background, because the rapid development of the internet in the world and the ease of using it, the increasing of consumer in online shopping is growing rapidly. And because everything is available on the internet shopping, the society make the online shop is the new shopping center beside the real shopping center. Because of the internet shopping, or we can call it e-commerce, the lifestyle of community also change. And one of the big change is that the people in the community is get used to buy something they need on the internet. And the background of the problem and the development of the online shop in the technological era in this world is greatly influenced both the lifestyle and the need of the community. Online shop also have factors that can affect consumer behavior, and this factor can have satisfying or beneficial impact because they have advantage, and there are also disadvantage. And for the advantage, we can call it is the first one is infinite time and space, and the second is unbound institution, and the third is cheap cost, and the fourth is fast transaction, and the five is does not require a lot of energy. And then the disadvantage, we can call it as the first is the rise of online fraud, and the second is rarely touched by law, and the third is not evenly spread on the internet. And for the research question, there are 3 research questions in this paper, and the first one is how can knowledge of e-commerce can impact on the customer trust? And the second is how the customer make decision to purchase product online. And the third is how affecting is the influence of trust in the customer on the customer purchasing intention. In this research objective, in this study examines the factors that can influence consumer behavior towards online shop. And the research objective, the first one is to determine the effect of attitudes on consumer buying interest online shop, and the second is analyzing the effect of shopping enjoyment on online purchasing decision through e-commerce sites, and the third is analyzing the factor that impact the purchase intention on customer, and the fourth is to determine what can be effect to the customer trust. And for the benefits of research, there are 3: author, online merchants, and the further research. And for the author can find out what are the factors that can affect consumer behavior in online shopping. And then with that the author will find out the easy to reach more consumer for the online shop itself. So it's kind of for personal purpose. And then for online merchants, this research is expected to get input or suggestion for online merchants to improve their strategy in the maintaining sales stability. And the further research, this research is expected to be reference for further research. The systematic of final project writing, and to provide a clear picture of the research, a systematic writing was compiled containing information about the material and matter discussed in each chapter. And for the chapter 1, there are introduction. In introduction, this chapter will describe the background, the problem formulation, the research question, the research objective, the research benefits, and the writing systematic. And the chapter 2, there are literature review, and in here will be explained the theoretical basis or concept that underlie the preparation of the research. And there are chapter 3, the chapter is research methodology. In this chapter, the author will describe the research methodology, types of research, the data collection technique, hypothesis testing, and the data analysis method. And the chapter 4, or we can call it discussion. In this chapter, the writer will describe the answer to the question on the formulation of the problem. And the chapter 5, the closing, or we can call it the conclusion. And then in this chapter contains the conclusion of the results of the research and that will be carried out, and the suggestion that have been given for the further research. And in chapter 2, there are little review. And the relevant theory in this is online shop, consumer behavior, and trust. So the online shop, according to Mujiana and Elisa in 2013, is a process where consumer directly transacts goods, services, and other from seller in an interactive and real-time manner without an intermediary media via the internet. And in the online shop, there are several operations, namely supplier, reseller, and dropshipper. And the supplier, according to Fauzi in 2004, a supplier is a company or individual that provide the resources needed by the company and its competitor to produce certain of goods and the services. It also can be concluded that the supplier is the party that distributes the certain product to be traded to prospective store sellers. And the second is reseller. And according to Justicia in 2013, a reseller is a person who sells other people's product through their website with one agreement. And it can be concluded that the reseller is a party who resell other people's products or their suppliers' product independently. And then there are dropshipper. The dropshipper is the store that sell product without having their own product. So the dropshipper only use product photo to sell if someone is interested in the product. The supplier will send them to consumer directly, but the deliverer will use on the behalf on the dropship store itself. And the consumer behavior. In the consumer behavior, according to Kotler and Keller in 2008, consumer behavior is the study of how individuals, groups, and organizations choose, buy, use, and how goods, service, ideas, or experience satisfy their needs and desire. Consumer behavior is a study of how an individual make decision to allocate available resources like time, money, effort, and energy. And the third is trust. According to Gambetta in 1988, trust is a certain degree of a subjective probability that again judge that another again or group of again will perform a certain action. It can be concluded that trust come from several actions that are judged by people to perform their action. So the trust is something that companies achieve from customer by satisfying their customer with the service or with the product they offer. So in the previous research, there are 3 previous research. So the first one is Hong Lee and Jae-Jong Kim and Jae-Song Park in 2007, and the title is The Effect of Internet Shoppers' Trust on Their Purchasing Intention in China. And the result is trust has a strong significant relationship with purchasing intention. And the second research is Arjun Mittal, and the title is E-commerce, its impact on consumer behavior in India. So this research is happened in India. So the results is the factor from the internet that influence or hinder online consumer behavior needed to be carefully considered by online retailers who can take advantage of appropriate marketing communications to support customer purchasing decision-making process and improve their performance. And the third is there are the research from Hallie Halkanen and Tommy Laukanen in 2018. So the title is The National Culture and the Consumer Trust in E-commerce, and the result is a cultural dimension may influence disposition to trust and be trusted differently. So in this conceptual framework and the research hypothesis. So in this model, consumers' intention to buy product from internet shopping centers depends on the consumer trust. Consumers are less likely to patronize stores that fail to create a sense of trustworthiness and user-friendly context. Meanwhile, trust will also be influenced by e-commerce knowledge, reputation perception, risk perception, and perceived ease of use. In chapter 3, we'll talk about a research method. And then the type of research we use is, and the research method used in this study is qualitative. Qualitative research is the research that intends to understand phenomena about what is experienced by the research subject, such as a behavior, perception, motivation, action, and other holistically. In the operational variable, there are two variable: dependent variable and independent variable. And then in the dependent variable that are predicted or observed thanks to research conducted by the researchers, and the independent variable in the study is the consumer trust. And for the independent variable, in this variable will affect the chance on variable dependent in the study. The independent variable is the consumer behavior. And there are in the research stage. There are 7 research stages in this research. So there are stages of research will be carrying out by me. And the first one is identify the problem, and the second is clearly define the goals of the research, and the third is data collection, and the fourth is data analysis, and the fifth is discussion the results of analyzing the data, and the sixth is discussion about the conclusion and recommendation, and the seventh is report and present your finding. And the data collection and data search. In here, we use the primary data. So the collect of the data that will be used in this research is primary data, and it means that collecting data by analyze is the data that have been collected for the study by using interview and the questionnaire. And in the data analysis technique, are method used to process data into information that is easy to understand and useful as a solution to problems. The author used data reduction analysis technique, namely the process of the choosing, focusing, and simplification, abstracting. Okay, I think that's all just for me. Thank you very much. Thank you.